Symptoms that were overlooked. Hi, it's Sage Justice with Sage Words. The symptoms that I had that were overlooked weren't just before the diagnosis, they were after the diagnosis too. And that was my bleeding disorder. And I had doctor after doctor say to me, why do you think that vascular Ehlers-Danlos syndrome has anything to do with your bleeding disorder? And I'd say, why do you think it doesn't? The word vascular, to begin with, is a clue, but also the nature of collagen and defective collagen, more accurately, and connective tissue. I said, correct me if I'm wrong, but is it not true that if you have defective collagen, it's kind of like a rubber band that you stretch too far? And what happens when you stretch a rubber band too far? It gets these little teeny tiny holes in it. And what can happen to your arteries when you have these teeny tiny little holes? Occult bleeding. And they'd say, do you have a medical degree? And I'd say no. And they'd say, so do you consider yourself Dr. Google? And I say, honey, I was Dr. Google before there was a Google, okay? I was going to libraries in the 1970s and 80s, and I was laying in bed with a Merck manual in the 90s. I was searching for anything because nobody cares, is going to be more invested in your health and the solutions and answers to your problems than you are. So if any doctor ever tries to accuse you of being Dr. Google and minimizing that and dismissing it, don't let that happen. Also, you can't be pompous. You have to have humility and diplomacy when you're speaking to someone who has their ego invested in their career over your health. But you have to have a certain boldness and confidence. I've had a very hard life. I've earned my boldness and my confidence, but I also have to use humility and diplomacy as well. Luckily, the hematologist I'm working with now, it took a lot. It was about a year, I feel like, of fighting. I had to have even a boardroom meeting, about to lose my hat. But they met me where I am. They listened. And later, the hematologist even said to me and my daughter in a Zoom meeting, so I'm glad my daughter was there as witness, you were right. And what you said turned out to be true. And you were the first one who said it, and you didn't back down, and you didn't stop saying it. And then we were able to start treating other patients because of it. So you have to, they had done like 8 different invasive tests of colonoscopies, endoscopies, 3 exploratory surgeries looking for this blood. And I said, no more. Just treat me for the ferritin loss, and you got to let it go of not knowing what the cause or the source of this is. So stand your ground, okay?